Alright, hey guys, so this is going to be kind of like a talky, very wordy, might get a little bit technical video, and it's not a mainstream one, it's more or less a search and find. If you're having this problem, you'll find this. If not, you are just a regular guy, maybe you'll learn something. So today we're talking about my 2002 GMC Sierra. It's the Duramax, it's the 2500. Anyways, we're talking about wiring auxiliary lights, light bars, whatever, and wanting them on your high beams with an auxiliary, so they come on with your high beams, come off with your high beams. And now I was running a small set of D2 driving lights from Rigid off of a relay, like easily, without a problem for the longest time. But then I recently put a 10-inch Rigid in the middle, driving lights here, spots up on the headache rack. I was running 3 relays, just from Lordco, just a 12-volt relay, to run them. And I was having some troubles, and I metered it, and I was only getting 7 volts. So what I thought I had done correctly before is come over to the high beam circuit up near the headlight here, this is why I have it out, and T-tap on to the switch leg before the headlamp. This works in a lot of vehicles, and it's good and bad if you snag it up here by the headlight because it's quite exposed to the weather and such. If you're worried about that, just use the proper heat shrink, whatever. You could be fine. But the thing about the 99s to 2002 Chevys is they're switched ground headlights. I'll talk a little bit more about that anyways. But what basically means you can't use it up here. If you don't give a shit about all this information and you just want to know where to pull the wire from, skip later into the video. The time will be in the description to where I point at the wire and say, take your turn on signal from here. It'll be there. But if not, let's go look at some theory. Alright, so we're going to look at a couple drawings which are similar, and then I believe the exact one for the truck I'm doing this on. This is the same for the gassers to the diesel. Very, very similar. Not the same, but what we're doing is the same. Just similar diagrams. So this is the Haynes Repair Manual for 99 through 2006. Here we have in chapter 12, blah, 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 blah. We got the wiring diagram. Headlight system, typical. I'm really hoping you can see what I'm trying to show you here. So basically we get hot at all times at the top of the drawing. So basically we come through here. This is our headlight relay, which turns on our headlight systems. They're off during the daytime. So when that relay gets energized, it closes. Hot at all times. Then when your headlight systems are on, we have right to high beam, low beam, low beam. Boom, boom, boom. Goes through different channels. The important part is it brings us down to this headlamp dimmer switch, which is the switch located within the multi-switch on the left side of your steering column. And basically, since this is now hot at all times that your headlights are on, if that gets grounded, that bulb will be on. Basically, when it's in the low beam position, low beam is closed, straight to the ground over here. High beam's on, boo-doo-doo, straight to the ground. Which basically means when your high beams are off, but your headlight system is on, you'll get 12 volts on both sides of whatever headlight bulb you're using, whether it's LED, an HID system, depending on if they're fancy or not, regular conventional incandescent, doesn't matter. You get 12 on either side. And before, when I was doing, which is why I was having some weird stuff and I got perked up when I both changed to LED headlights and the multiple relays, was I was actually pulling it off of the switched the side off of the ground side of the low beam bulb. Is that correct? Yeah, so it'd roughly see 12 volts when the low beams were off, triggering saying that it's in the high beam mode, and that worked for a while until I switched to the low power headlights. And of course, since your power then has to go through the load of your 2 headlamps then to your relays, it wasn't working out properly. Once I switched past the incandescents, the relays will not trigger. They get a really funky voltage, like 7 volts, and that was driving me crazy for a bit. Anyways, that is why, because you can't do that. It kind of works if you're just running incandescents, but it's not the right way to do it. Now, if you guys, my rant is aside. What we're gonna do, which I first went on YouTube and saw a guy and he pointed at this wire and actually happened to put the T-tap in the same spot, and he also put a tie wrap on it. But anyways, yeah, I copied that. Credit that guy, whoever the hell that guy was. Hot at all times. We're coming down here in orange. We jump over, goes to our headlamp dimmer switch, and it's part of it. It's a normally open section of the switch, and it's called flash to pass, which allows you to quickly hit your multi-switch, pulling it back to turn your headlamps on, even if your headlamps are off, whether it's an automatic or they're off. When they're an automatic, it would still be, this relay would still be off, so you can't energize these bulbs at all. So what that does is it gives a 12-volt signal to your body control module, which also controls off of your daylight sensor. So it has a pinout to then also turn on your headlight. So basically what that'll do, when you close that and you pull back on that switch, that will be closed. Your body switch will be like, oh, we need headlamps right now. Turn that on. So it's kind of like a loop-de-loop signal, if that makes any sense. Oh, that's a lot of jabbering. Oh, I feel like I'm not doing the best job I could here. But anyways, stick with me. Pull up on the computer. I have the same thing as what I just showed you, but it's the actual correct drawing for the diesel version. It's just drawn a little bit differently, but essentially it's the same thing with a flash to pass switch within the headlamp dimmer switch, and the body control module is laid out a little bit more simply, I believe, on this one, but it's the same thing essentially. It is switched ground on the headlight circuit, so you can't really use the power circuits. So now for the easy part after this rant, I'm gonna go jump in the truck and point at the wire with you. Oh my goodness, you guys deserve a cookie if somehow you made it through that rant about this. I hope I was clear. I know I could be clearer. Anyways, the best place to push this, or to take this signal from, is under your dash like this. So you first remove this panel. It's 2 screws, yonder and yonder, 7mm. You have to pop this out, just a nib, because it retains the top, pops that out. Then you get under here. There'll be a plate covering all this. This plate right here. 4 10mm nuts with the deep socket will get that out no problem. So then you get this bundle of wires exposed to you in your face right here. This basically is for your ignition switch right there. And this cluster right here, don't fuck with that wire, this will be airbag. This cluster here goes up to this side of the steering column, and part of it goes up to here, which is the switch we before talked about. Anyways, you're basically going to want to find this brown wire in that pack, T-tap onto it, and now this is your new signal wire for your relay, whether it's a direct to relay for your auxiliary lights, or whether you're like me and you have other switches, because I have mine divided up, whether it's one switch, multiple light bars. I'd recommend putting that before your relay, so you know, cop pulls you over when you're not allowed to have it. Oh, show me your high beams. You can show them your high beams without turning on your light bar. So that is where you pull your signal from, and that is what this video is supposed to be talk about. Well, son of a bitch. Well, in other news, don't you like my organized chaos? 4 relays for that stuff. This relay is what I'm about to talk about. Basically, this circuit is a signal circuit, and it's just not meant to drive 3 relays that are on the headlights. I know there's 4 here, but that one's just a relay. Those 3, I measured, it pulls half an amp while they're all on for signal. And I realized after measuring the voltage, this circuit is not good with that. It can do the milliamps one needs. So, found another one. Wired her in temp here, just to proof of concept for myself. and to give her a couple days test drive. You know, make sure she's bulletproof before I tie her up real good. And I'll hold off before posting this video just to make sure I'm not talking out my ass here. So that's where I'll leave you. If you have more than one relay, have another control relay. This guy could be smaller, of course. It's only ever going to switch half an amp just to control these. Excuse me. But gosh, don't you guys just love a rambly video? And I hope it was clear. If it wasn't, I'm very snappy on my comments. So just ask me a question. I'm pretty good at answering. And oh yeah, if you're more interested about the light setup here, what they look like, like that with the 10-inch driving lights, spots, and the diffuse backup lights from Rigid, I have a video on it. Link in the description. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
My name is